Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's All You Can Geek Gamecast episode 680. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Gass, joined by Mike Sneedy,
What's up?
Corey Feinside,
Ahoy!
and Tony Korkanakis.
Hello.
Welcome, guys. Welcome, listeners and viewers, to 680 of the Gamecast. We just finished our Movies of the Year episode. It's on audio, it's on video. You can stream it on YouTube or on Twitch for a week at least. They store it. So you can watch it on Twitch for a week. But go on YouTube because it's got all of our stuff. You can subscribe and get notified when we go live or when we post. And then also subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or Spotify, and you get the auto downloads that way too. So the audio versions of this will be up. But our movies of the year are done from last year. Games of the year will not be tonight. That will be next week because, again, we give about an hour for those episodes each, and we'd like to divide it up so we don't have a 12 o'clock night one night. Yeah, so that'll be next week. This is a regular Gamecast, folks. There's some news out there we can talk about. There's some games we can talk about. It's been a little bit of a week, so I want to know what we've been up to, guys, what we've been playing. I kick us off with Sea of Stars. I think I mentioned it briefly.
Yeah, you did.
During the most anticipated last week. So I'm on chapter 2 now of that game. I'm about just in the... It looks like each chapter is going to be... Like, there's 3 chapters.
Any predictions? We need to anticipate it yet.
Oh, predictions. I'm sorry, not anticipated. That was predictions. Yeah, bold predictions episode. I mentioned it. So I'm playing this. I'm about 10 hours in now at this point. Just past 10 hours. Game's fantastic. It is so good. I do wish it doesn't scratch the Suicode niche I was hoping for. There's not enough like recruitment characters. But it does mix, like, I would say Breath of Fire with Zelda. Best mix I can think of. And the characters are quirky in the first chapter enough, and pixel art, I mean, it's such classic RPG. Turn-based, straightforward, but you press the button to do more damage. Mario RPG style, I believe. So they've mixed a lot of
You can also
ideas.
block in this too, that way.
And you can block and reduce damage in this game. And then there's vulnerabilities you have to keep an eye on. There's actually combos you can do. There's actually bonus damage you can do by tying in certain attacks to enemies at the right time. And like I said, overall the story so far is good. It's building still. I don't know. I'm sure there's a plot twist. I can't wait to get to that because I know something's coming. But I haven't gotten there yet. So we're still building a normal story right now. But as in all of these old school style RPGs, there's always a plot twist. Like, I'm waiting for that to happen. Very enjoyable game though so far, and it's been on sale a few times. So I so far strongly recommend picking this up. And I think it was $20 last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, on the Steam sale.
Yeah, so I got it for 24 on one of the CD keys is where I got it from. So it's fine, but it runs on Steam Deck just fine. Obviously, it's not a very powerful, demanding game. The cutscenes, it's so old-fashioned. It's got the pixel art, and then when it goes to like storytelling cutscenes, it is animated like anime style. It's refreshing to have that. I don't know why. I actually like having. It's unbelievable because back in the day when you talk about like those old games, you're like, man, I want these graphics to be as good as the cutscenes. And now I'm like, I love that there's cutscenes. But I'm enjoying it quite a bit. We'll talk more about it when I finish up. Let's see if it can make my list next week. See if it cracks my top 3. We'll see. It's fun. I don't know if it gets in the top 3, but it's fun. Might be a surprise. So still, we'll see. But that's it for me. Corey, what have you been playing?
I've been playing a lot of board games actually recently. Some of my buddies have in the board game group. They have their own podcasts that they do for that, and they're doing their top games of the board games of the year. So I've been helping play with some of those, and one of them I just want to shout out is called Anunnaki, which is a 4X style game, which means like you're exploring, you're exterminating, you can never remember the 4X's. Explore, exterminate, expand. Explorers. Well, there's another one there. But anyway, but it uses like all the different like gods out there. Like not all of them, but like you have Norse gods, you have Greek gods, you have Egyptian gods, and those are your factions, and you have your own planets, and you're then exploring these other type planets to get resources and then to unlock more minor gods as well as like your major god. But the main action board on the way that you're doing actions is like this pentagon thing that when you pick an action, you can go adjacent to one of your other actions, and you're as long as you're going adjacent, you're getting to unlock another ability there, which then helps do more actions. So just combos over combos with more of the different abilities that you're unlocking, which just makes it a lot more fun, obviously, and you're building up your faction and unlocking new powers. And so I'd say it's one of the better games I played this from last year, and
Yeah,
just wanted to shout that out as far as board gaming goes, because we
cool.
definitely do a lot of the video games, but I'm obviously been a lot more on the tabletop side recently. But it's
Yeah.
called Anunnaki, which is funny because there aren't Anunnaki gods in this. It's but yes.
Okay, cool. All right, Mike, what have you been playing?
Well, I've been playing Baldur's Gate 3 for the last few weeks, couple weeks, I guess since around Christmas. Yeah. And I like it. I don't know what I'm doing. If you're on the Discord, you see me asking questions, being confused, but I am into the second act now, for a little bit. I've got about like 38 hours in the game. Um, uh, as I've mentioned, I lost a main character just by not running into them for the longest time, which is interesting.
Yeah.
I do worry that I'm playing the game a little too like straight up to like appreciate what it does well.
No, I think you're experiencing more than I did in Act One. I mean, I played for 65 hours in this game, and you're 38. Wait,
Well,
38 in Act.
yeah, I'm normally kind of a bit of a completionist. I really dragged my feet before I went to the next area because it warns you, and I didn't want to like miss anything. And also, I'm not good at the combat,
Yeah, it's tough.
so I want to
Combat's
be
tough.
decently leveled or find some like good shit to use.
It,
Right now I'm about level 6 right now. So
you should have your cycle now. Tony, I'd like you to chime in because you finished this right this week.
Yes.
Yeah. So the combat click more for you in Act Three? Like, did you just suddenly find your like you find your rotation eventually, right?
I mean, I I think combat was the hardest in Act One when you didn't have stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Like,
But
I
for
think
me,
that's most
clicking out,
RPGs
yeah,
though, because
towards the
like,
end of Act Two, it clicked, and then like I just had that rotation down that I wanted. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, I mean, but the thing is, like in Act Two, like I was like, okay, this is my build. These are my party members. Like I didn't rotate people in and out unless it was
Yeah,
like
you
specifically
find
a
each one.
quest thing or like I
You had
needed
to
a Astarion
take
to
them
do some
on.
like lock picking or something. Where
Yeah,
it's
you had to
like,
take them on. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
that was it. But for the most part, now I was just like, all right, I have my build, and you guys are gonna die down. And just,
That's what I got to. About the end of Act Two, that clicked for me. That the Die Now group, I call it. But yeah, so Mike, you're going into Act Two,
mhm.
but you're enjoying
It
it,
is a little annoying. The Act 2, the gimmick of Act 2 is a little annoying, even though I
isn't it?
have
Yeah.
a cheating thing, which I'm sure is like morally wrong to have, but I'm using it. Um, it's at
Choice.
least that's what they imply, but
It's a
I
choice.
don't care.
It's fine.
what
My
choice?
character
The
to have a trapped like
berry.
see in a light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what you guys
Although
did, really?
No, I didn't actually.
no, I found it. Just found it that way. I didn't like,
No, but
but I kept it. I'm like,
that's what I'm saying. You picked that choice, like, oh, I'm just gonna enslave you in this fucking.
Yeah, no,
torch.
she's
Or can't.
she's.
once they
If you
started
didn't,
yelling at me, I'm
if
like,
you
fuck you.
didn't,
You're in
yeah, if you
here.
didn't choose that, you would have gotten the gift anyways.
Yeah, you did it
not have
anyway.
to. Yeah, she gives you a gift
Well,
to not need it. So, I went that other route. I didn't enslave her, so you know, one of the rare decisions I think my character made. I just played it the way I wanted to play
I
it.
entrust it, but it doesn't. My character is supposed to be a folk hero, so it's
Hmm.
not exactly in line. Although he's also a rogue, which means
Yeah, he
Astarion
could be a little
never is
deceiving.
used
Yeah.
ever.
Oh yeah.
I don't. Astarion is like in my you know in the doghouse for me. He's useless to me. Isn't
Hmm.
and he's
Well,
also
you'd be
kind of
doubling up on rogues then, so.
Yeah. You don't
yeah
want to do
yeah
that.
I
You don't
know.
want to do that.
I don't like him. I don't like him too much as a character either. I'm like this guy kind of sucks.
He was
I
Literally.
don't.
he was fine. Damage he can do right off the bat for me was really good. But in the like if it's a long fight, he's not very good for a long fight.
Yeah. Um. No, I don't know. I'm hoping I'm not gonna blitz through it just to try to get it on the list. I'm not sure, because like I like the game. It reminds me of some other things I liked, like the X-Men Legend games back in the day, and a little bit of Midnight Suns, and even The Witcher, just because of the vibes and the universe. But no,
It's
we'll
cool.
see. We'll see if it can overcome, my natural dislike for fantasy setting and turn based.
But Mike, you're playing a lot of it. RPGs
No,
too.
I am.
You're an RPG fan.
Yeah.
It's called what it is.
Yeah, I am.
Start playing Final Fantasy VII.
So, but no, I like it.
Well, it's like the same thing. I hate open worlds, but I play a ton of open worlds. And Mike hates RPGs, but you're now playing a ton of RPGs.
I've never hated RPGs. I hated, turn-based things, but I've done like 3
Most
in the
RPGs
last
are
2 years.
So.
That's a classic RPG. Yeah, you don't like JRPGs.
Well, yeah.
But no, even Western RPGs are turn-based.
Even Western. Yeah, you're right.
Well, like, okay.
You can say like Fallout 3, stuff like that is an RPG. You could kind of put that in that.
But that you spun the whole conversation. Is it half RPG and half shooter? Because that's what it is. That was the biggest complaint from Fallout traditionalists. It's like, oh, this is a shooter more than an RPG.
Sure.
Absolutely. So, all right, cool. Tony?
Yeah, so I finished up my playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, here it is.
Great game. Amazing game. Absolutely.
I cannot wait till you both finish this, by the way, because I gotta hear how you finish
your
game.
That's the thing is, like, as soon as I did it, I was like, I really wonder what Jim picked, and I kind of feel like I know what you did. I'm not going to say anything, obviously, but I'm like, I bet I know what Jim did.
I think I remember him saying something that now makes more sense to me, what he did.
Yeah. But anyway, like, fantastic game. Amazing. Truly a milestone for RPGs. And the one thing I hope that in 5 or 10 years, probably closer to 10, unfortunately, that other RPGs are going to take away the choices that Larian made into making this game an experience, right? Because you cannot experience all the content in this game on one playthrough. You can't. It's impossible. Because you have to make decisions that will
affect other places.
Affect other things,
characters.
Right?
Yeah.
And to me, that is what I want. That is my biggest criticism of something like, I don't want to hit them while they're down, but I got to call it out. You look at something like Bethesda with Starfield and their whole thing of trying to make, you could do everything. You're the chosen one. You can do whatever you want. And I'm just like, I don't like that. Like, I want consequences for my actions. I don't want to get the same experience everybody else does. Like that.
You also want the freedom. You also want the freedom of doing what you want, feeling like that. Like obviously, there's still ropes in this. There's still a channel you have to go through. You don't feel like it in Baldur's Gate, but there's still something there.
Right.
But like in Starfield, that was the problem going from Baldur's Gate to Starfield for me. I'm just like, why am I playing this game?
Exactly. And there are choices that you have to make.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Sorry, just to diverge a little bit. What if 3 years from now, Starfield is a completely different game? Because let's say this was the early access for because it wasn't Baldur's Gate in early access for 3 years.
No, absolutely it was.
So
and if Starfield does that, kudos to them. I cannot see that.
No Man's Sky. No, I can't see it either. I don't think they're gonna commit 3 more years to this game. But I'm just saying, like, I don't like. I think not to put anybody down. Just like as a devil's advocate. Let's say, like, Larian did get a chance to have people play this game and get a bunch of feedback for. We lost Jim's video, but a bunch of feedback from the community at least to help. Whereas like a game like Starfield's like expected to be this 10 out of 10 on day one when it's released.
No,
a little
absolutely
unfair.
No, I get it, and that's one of the things where I'm like,
very unique.
The sudden
situation.
To me, the whole thing of like Baldur's Gate 3. Welcome back, Jim. The whole thing with like everybody like being like, oh my god, because I was like, I've been talking to people playing this game for the past 2 years. Or 3 years, because it was during the pandemic, I remember, and I was like, I'll wait for the official release because I don't want to.
Why waste your time on a bad game?
Right, exactly.
It's like,
so when everybody's like, this, I was like, like you guys didn't know this is gonna be like. It was still great, people were like loving it, but you were helping develop the game. You were helping give feedback directly to Larry.
Right? Yeah.
And if Bethesda does do that, kudos and props to them. But the problem is like. The things I want out of Starfield to do would require so much work, effort, and energy. They might as well just make a new game. Be honest. And that's the thing, is like, if anything, I hope that this shapes the next Fallout game, because we're so far away from the next Fallout game. We're totally getting Elder Scrolls Next. That is way too late for them to drastically change the needle. But the Fallout game, the next Fallout game, that has a chance. So I'm hoping that's where we get.
I mean, I think Baldur's Gate's way out. Or not Baldur's Gate, jeez. Elder Scrolls is way out there too. Which
No. I mean, it's probably 4 years away. But like they're, we always talk about like scope creep and all that stuff. Like, they would have to delay the game even longer. And I don't think they're willing. Microsoft, I don't think they're willing to be like.
Microsoft's not.
No,
but
like
they'll throw money at it though too.
Right. So. Anyway, Baldur's Gate 3, I actually think the third act is probably the weakest in my opinion. To where I wonder where, not only from a narrative perspective, but from a polish perspective. I had so many glitches and bugs in Act 3, I actually got a little upset at a couple times where I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, game? Where I actually wonder if a lot of these reviewers and or people that were, propping it up got to Act 3, because I'm like, yo, this is some jank bullshit going on right now. And even, I don't know if people know, but on Xbox, the Xbox version of the game, there's a bug where it's just randomly deleting your save files. And good luck. Good, fucking start over. And again, to me, the overall, like, I never really truly enjoyed combat. It was always just like a means to get to the end, where it's like, hey, you're in my way and I need to do that. And once I found out what works, it just carried me through the rest of the game. Like, I never really, and it's unfortunate because, like, in a game like this where, again, I had so many scrolls, potions, elixirs, and bombs, whatever, etc. And I'm just like, but I know what works and I don't need to change anything I'm doing. To the point where I'm like, if I ever play this game, I will definitely play it differently just to, like, see how it is. Because, like, my team basically consisted of 3 two-handed, like, warriors, fighters, barbarians, just running up and just fucking wrecking people in their face, while my cleric just sat back, healed them, and then summoned bullshit to, like, fight other people. So it was just like, all right, like, I know it works. You're not stopping me. There's no reason for me to change up my gameplay and stuff like that.
Did you guys respect any of the other characters?
Yes, absolutely. You should respect.
Oh, boy.
I mean, it's like 100 gold. It's inconsequential.
No, I know, but it's more like the thinking part. That's oh boy for me.
Yeah.
I've heard that Shadowheart is kind of.
No, you absolutely. If you're using her, you need to respect her, because her fucking trickster cleric is bullshit. Like, it's terrible. It's god awful.
I mean, I use her almost exclusively as a healer now. I don't hit anything.
Well, right, but her healing is also mediocre in that default class.
Great.
Yes. Yeah.
I'll have to figure something out.
Yeah. I can link a build. I can link a good build. So anyway, it's still an amazing game. Absolutely amazing. I will remember this for years to come. Stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And the other thing that I have been playing with my brother, and I mentioned on the podcast, he's a survival horror aficionado, and trying to get one more game out of the way before next week. We'll see if that happens, but at least we're a decent way into it. We're playing the Dead Space remake. And that game,
I saw that on your table. So.
Yeah. That game is awesome. Like, I played a little bit of the original, but I didn't have it. I think it was just a friend or something like that.
It? Oh, wow.
No, I never went through it, which is like one of the. And the worst part is, it's in my Steam library. Like, I was just going through my Steam library, then I was like, nice. Wait, I had original Dead Space? I was like, I don't remember that, but there it is. And I'm like, well, whatever. I'm playing the remake now. But this game is really fun. You can obviously see the inspiration from the Resident Evil 2 and forward, moving on, stuff like that. But set in a space setting with, aliens and stuff like that. And what I really appreciate is the graphics are incredible. The atmosphere is top notch. Like, the things that they have you doing in the environmental aspect is unmatched, I'd say, by other games. And I put an asterisk there just because I bought Alan Wake 2. I haven't gotten a chance to try that yet, but that could be the one game that does it. Because there are times where it's like, hey, this area of the map, because you're on a giant spaceship, right? And you're trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. And there's like, hey, well, there's only enough reserve energy to power one thing in this section. and you need to power the door so you get through. So what do? You have to turn off the lights. And turning off the lights in a survival horror game where there are mobs of enemies, generally pretty fucking scary and stuff like that. So it really adds to the tension where you're like, oh fuck, oh shit, oh no, not like, like just the escalation of your, blood pressure, heart, whatever you want to call it, where it's like, this is not going to be a good time. I know what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if this was in the original, but in the remake, there are sections where your suit has oxygen levels where you have to go to parts where like are in space, and you see your like timer on the suit. It's like, you got 60 seconds of oxygen. You better get to that next vacuumized, pressure sealed, area. And you're like, oh, and then they throw enemies at you. You're like, I don't have time to fuck around with you guys. Like, I need to go. So it's just really fun from that perspective. So I'm really enjoying that game. And once again, awesome. Props to Resident Evil 2 Remake for bringing on the survival horror resurgence that we're now benefiting from, 5 years later. So
that sounds like they did a great job there, and like
it is.
I'm super excited to see if they do the second one, because the second one is even.
That's what I hear. I hear 2 is the peak of the franchise. Just kind of like a lot of people think that with Resident Evil.
There is a moment in that game that like people still talk about.
Yeah.
I think that.
And I think it's done well.
Freaks.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to it. I hope we're getting it because, Resident Evil 2 to Resident Evil 4 remake, Dead Space remake, and Silent Hill 2 remake. I hope we're in that era now of resurgence there. But yeah, that's what I'm playing.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right. Let's get into some news, guys. A couple of things happened this week. Let's kick it off with layoffs. Apparently, we've got.
Do I win my bet already?
You might. Amazon's Twitch to cut 500 employees, 35% of its staff, which is
baby.
Yeah, after 2 rounds of layoff last year.
Yep.
2 rounds of layoffs last year. They're going to do another 500 employees on Twitch. And to piggyback that in, Unity, which has had its own problems, not Amazon issues, is going to cut 1,800 jobs, 25% approximately of its workforce, targeting laying off. Not to say that definitively, but they're targeting 1,800.
Yep.
That's insane. So a lot of industry layoffs, not good.
No,
not good. We were talking about this. We talked about this a little bit. Like you said, you mentioned this last bold predictions. Didn't you?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's sad because I don't want it to be a bold prediction, but it's almost, you had all these people these companies that were being propped up by the pandemic and people having nothing better to do because they're not going outside, and they're flocking to video games and watching video game streams. And these companies believing, oh yeah, like this growth was sustainable. Like, oh look, we went 50% year over year from 2019 to 2020. Well, no shit, what happened? And for them to expect that to continue moving forward now in 2023 and 2024 is just asinine. Like, any realist person would be like, okay, well that was, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's not overstaff. Let's just power through this, and stuff like that. But then now, what's an age-old saying? I don't know. You're paying the piper? I don't know. It's just where it's like, oh, look, like now we don't have that growth and we don't have that sustainability, and we need to cut back and cut back significantly. It's not like a 5 or even 10%, which still be a lot of people's lives being disrupted. A lot of people. Yeah. You're talking about 25 to 33%, like, and especially with Unity, like that just pisses me off because
1,800 people. Yeah.
Right. Unity was a bunch of these fucking C-level and board of directors coming in being like, we need to monetize Unity because this company could be making so much more money, where they push that shit we talked about at the end of the year with the ways they wanted to monetize the licensing and stuff like that. And I said, developers are going to jump ship, even though they have wound up reverting all those changes. Nobody trusts them anymore. Once you lose trust, like that is it. And it's unfortunate because now the baseline employees are paying for the price for greedy board of directors and C-level executives who are going to get golden parachutes. I mean, what's his name? Ristelio or whatever, just fuck him. Like, he's getting paid millions of dollars even though he got fired. It's like, cool, you ran this company on the ground.
Yep.
And with Twitch, just again, I remember being a huge fan of Twitch, like in the early days, and seeing the growth.
We're streaming on Twitch right now.
Yeah, we're streaming on Twitch obviously right now. But a company was acquired by a gigantic multi-billion trillion-dollar company, and they don't know how to monetize it, right? Because at the end of the day, it's a grassroots thing, and billion-trillion-dollar company cannot make money off of this the way that it should be doing, right? Because it's not worth the money. Like, it's not worth the ROI for them for this platform where ads, subscriptions, etc. like aren't paying for the service. So it's gonna be a rough ride this year.
Yeah,
very rough ride.
Yeah, it will be. All right, those are the layoff unfortunate starts. Let's see what else we've got here. Oh, Xbox Direct announced for next week, January 18th, 12 p.m.
Direct.
Well,
yeah,
Developer Direct.
No, yeah,
Developer
Direct
Xbox
Showcase.
Direct.
Yes.
Xbox Developer Direct Showcase starting Thursday at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, January 18th. Going over showcasing a few games for their coming this year. That's the key. Machine Games Indiana Jones will be on display. So the Wolfenstein.
I did have a little whip. I mean, Machine Games, I think they do good. Like Wolfenstein's been great.
Wolfenstein was great,
but like I don't know.
Yeah, wasn't that like 6 years ago though? At this point, 5 years.
That's what I'm saying.
It's been a while.
They've had a couple of games, like a couple of them, but they've always been solid. It's just I don't know.
Yep, they're gonna show Avowed at this one, Ara History Untold, and Senua's Hellblade 2, Senua Saga.
It's gonna get everything until it comes out.
Yep, an Indiana Jones game. So I'm kind of interested to see what they've built with this, because this is, like I said, this is Wolfenstein Studio. Like you said, it's been a while. They've been working on this obviously for a while. It's coming this year. Could be interesting. I gotta hit my AAA title prediction this year, didn't I? So hoping, but we'll see. Every time they say it's coming this year, I take that with a grain of salt.
As you should. How many years do we see Redfall? How many years do we see Starfield? Et cetera, et cetera.
I have learned. Even when they come out, you're like, are they still going to be any good?
No.
We've seen nothing of this game yet. So
not yet, but it's coming this year apparently. So we'll see on Thursday next week. Next Thursday, not this Thursday coming up. All right. Other news: DLC for Dead by Daylight has come out today. That Alan Wake is getting DLC for Dead by Daylight. Interesting. Character will be appearing in the game.
Nice.
Little Alan Wake. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It fits it. Absolutely, it does.
They did a great job with licensing. So
yeah, incredible. And I forget if I put it on the news, but they are bringing. I think I posted it in the Discord at least. But the Stranger Things collaboration is coming back. I think a year or two they.
I think you did mention it on the podcast.
A year or two they had said they were losing the license, and I think I had speculated because it was Netflix was getting into games, so they might have been doing their own, whatever plans for a Stranger Things thing.
Season 5 started filming.
Season 5 did start filming. Unrelated, but yeah. So yeah, Alan Wake. I mean, it's cool because you get to see like this is so Alan Wake will be a playable survivor. So every survivor has their own unique perks that you can unlock for all the characters. You can really customize and make it so like a character's basically just a skin, but he'll have some Alan Wake specific abilities and stuff like that. And they've been really good. So like you have a lot of the RE characters. So like Leon has like a grenade he can use defensively and whatnot, and so I think it's pretty fun.
Cool.
We'll see how it goes.
Probably just gonna shine a flashlight in your eyes or some shit.
Well, I mean, flashlights are in the game, so he'd probably have like a flashlight buff where it's like his flashlight is better than other characters. And if that's the case, man, flashlight is one of the best weapons against killers in this game. Like I said it before, but like you can bully the killer very easily if you're good with the flashlight because you just blind them, and as soon as they get out of the blind, you blind them again, and then I think you have enough for a third charge. It's like cool, you just bought like 30 seconds for your team, like and that's a lot.
Cool. All right. Last in the news, we had a report last week. This is just a report. This is not confirmed. Switch 2 will likely be an iteration rather than a revolution, launching at $400 according to a Tokyo-based game industry consultancy firm. Releasing information. Obviously, they have some access to information, so this seems like it could be credible. I don't know if $400 is a little bit out of the price range for a handheld, but it looks like that's where the industry is going anyways, like Steam Deck and stuff. So I don't think that's...
Didn't you buy a Steam Deck for that much?
Absolutely. I don't think it's astronomical.
Okay.
I think doing an iteration of the Switch is the right steps rather than reinvent the wheel and try to do something new. They have a successful formula. We all just want something more powerful, and I think that's what we're going to get here, and I'm excited for it. I don't think $400 is crazy, especially with how much fun I'm enjoying, like with my Steam Deck. Like, the Switch is fine, but it's so underpowered these days. Like, you need a buff.
Oh yeah, it's decade-old hardware.
Right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. It just needs that upgrade, and hoping this is going to be a good step forward too with this chipset, because the chipset's very powerful that they're supposed to be using, reportedly using. I think it can do a lot of cool stuff and catch them up a little bit to everything going on. I just hope that the base, obviously this is a pipe dream, base storage 256, please, but we'll see. Steam Deck is 256, base storage is $400.
Yeah, but it doesn't come with like a dock.
No, you're right.
Controllers aren't detachable.
Good point. Good point.
I mean, we'll see. You know, I would hope. I would love it, right? I would love it. But I gotta, you gotta be a realist. Like I said, 64 gigabytes is what the OLED has, so I would view that as the minimum.
It'll be
120 is probably the most realistic, thing. But the thing is, Nintendo games typically aren't very large anyway, so...
No, but I feel like with being able to do more with the chipset coming, they're going to be larger naturally. So I think 128 is the right way to go.
Yeah.
256 is the ideal way to go. But, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So
there might even be like a
expandable option.
It will. Yeah,
it matters as much.
Right, and that's the biggest thing is that Nintendo did it the right way, where you can just use a micro SD card.
Yep.
So you can just swap the games where it's like, oh, the game I'm playing, I can just swap to the internal SSD for the fastest load and stuff like that, and I can just keep things on the micro SD card and just move things around as need be for the faster loading and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think I just run the games off of the micro.
Well, you can, but I'm saying if you want the absolute
like fastest extra
seconds
or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
I think Zelda I installed locally. That was about it.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else I've been. So, but I think I don't know. I'm excited to see. What I'm more excited to see is where the new technology can bring the Nintendo games. Forget the catching up on certain third-party stuff. I think, as with every new piece of hardware you get from Nintendo, when it's good, obviously, like the Wii U was maybe ahead of its time. The Switch is where we should have been going. But I feel like when Nintendo hits a piece of hardware, it gets interesting to see where they can build their games to. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the iteration that they can do with their games to exercise that hardware best?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at something like Tears of the Kingdom, right? And that game is running off a cartridge, if it's not running off of your internal, and it's not an SSD. And the only load times you have is when you far travel in that game, right?
Yeah.
Like any other game where you're going from the sky to the ground to the underworld, like that's impressive. Like, I can't think of another game that you could do something similar to that.
I don't know of either. Yeah,
Right?
It's well done. It's so amazing what they did with that game that I just can't.
I'm curious, because I don't think the Switch 2 is just going to be a better version of the Switch, right? Like, because when you get the Xbox, you get Xbox Series S, whatever. It's just a better version of the thing you had before, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not innovating anyway. Nintendo's always innovating with their hardware and doing things differently. So I'm curious to see what
You think it might
do.
I'm
So you don't believe this report?
No,
he's
that's not what we're saying.
I think there's going to be something that's going to make it more unique than just another Switch.
Right. There's gonna the easiest addition would be something like front and face backing cameras. For various things. We've seen that from the 3DS and the Wii U gamepad that they could use again. They could get back into AR games again, stuff like that, because
I would love improved controllers. We're going, more durable. Go on. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's everybody, right? So
yeah, I know.
But I'm just saying, I think that when it comes to hardware, Nintendo's thinking more outside the box than Sony and Xbox.
No,
and
absolutely.
Microsoft. So
right.
I expect there to be something.
There will be
definitely...
a new hook, right? There will be something.
I would
that's
think so. I would hope so too, because and not that the Wii U was. Wii U was a failure, but they were trying something new and they were trying to do something different. And I appreciate, you can appreciate that because you already have Xbox and Sony doing the same thing. It's like you don't, necessarily need that.
Right. So we'll see. I mean, we always get a February Direct, so most 6 weeks out we'll know.
Yeah. It's gonna be soon. I think we got it. I mean, it's gotta be.
Cool. All right.
We're not gonna talk about. Oh,
nope.
What did I skip?
Suicide Squad?
Oh, no, I don't care about it.
You don't care? After playing in that NDA to alpha or whatever?
You enjoyed that, Jim.
I did enjoy it, but the more you get away from it, again, not even away from it, but it's more the more you think about it, the more you're like, I'm not paying full price for this game, definitely. I still might try it this year, absolutely. I don't disagree with some of the nitpicks the more you think about it, but I did enjoy the
nitpicks. I watched some of that footage and I was like, this is fucking hot garbage.
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't think it was hot garbage.
It feels better than it looks, but
yeah,
it's,
yeah. I would say it definitely
th-
ran fine. It felt
I'm
fine
more-
combat-wise.
I'm not talking about looking fine. I'm talking about the UI
Combat-wise.
looks god awful.
I
It
was-
looks like you're just puking numbers on a screen.
I didn't
Video
watch
game.
any of this stuff. Is it that got like the hit numbers and stuff popping
Yeah,
up?
absolutely.
Oh,
And
wow.
like anytime you're playing as Harley, you got these weird like red and blue, I don't know, Harley symbol or whatever, just popping out. You have these fucking things like Suicide Strike or whatever. I'm just like, and you have like things in every corner of the fucking game. I'm just like, what are you talking about? Like, what is any of this?
You
The
gotta
map
play
needs
it
to be
find
there.
out.
The ammo,
No.
the special abilities. Yeah, I mean the energy level. Yeah, I
Not
know.
only
There's,
that, the
there's a
quest
lot.
looks so fucking stupid, dude. There's literally a bus that comes out like Fortnite style from the fucking air.
I
Did you
didn't see
guys
that
not do that in the alpha?
No.
Where you had to rescue civilians? Oh
No.
my god.
no,
wonder they
no
kept that out of the
civilians
alpha.
in the.
Oh my
No.
god. Like literally,
Did not
they're
see
like,
that.
oh, what are the missions? Like a mission that pops up frequently is like, save the civilians, get on the bus. I'm like, what are you fucking doing?
That
Throwing
was-
in a bus. And it's literally like a flying bus. And it's like, you guys
I
have
did
lost the plot on this one.
Did not see that,
Mm.
but I don't know. We'll see. What
You don't
comes
watch
out,
any of the
how it is.
preview footage?
No, I didn't watch that. I
Oh
just
my
go by what I
God.
played. So, all right,
We'll see.
Don't
I know.
waste your money
It's
on
coming.
this.
When's that coming out? by the way?
February.
Next
Soon,
month.
Very
Next
soon.
month. Yeah. I mean, it's got.
It will not
gotta
be a day
have
one
this.
purchase.
I-
Definitely. but
It's
we'll see.
interesting for me. I almost want to spoil myself when the game actually comes out, and if things go a certain way, I just won't play it. And if they go a different way, maybe I'll give it a try.
Do you want to know? I
don't
already,
know.
I already know.
Person lied.
So,
You don't know that person
No?
lied.
Mm. Okay.
We'll see.
Do you think
we'll
so?
see. We'll see when it comes out. All right. That's going to wrap up this episode of the Gamecast, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, we are live on Twitch Tuesday nights, 8 o'clock. Please join us live. Next week is our Games of the Year podcast, so please join us for that one. Movie cast, we still do regular one next week. TV shows of the year will be after that one the following week. YouTube following day has all of our content, so always go back and watch any of that stuff. Audio's on Spotify and YouTube and iTunes. So stay tuned. We'll see you guys next week. We are out.